It's true. I was very young, too, mind you.
Yes.
I was very young and very ignorant. I have heard that the mixture of alcohol and gasoline can form a volatile condition, but it doesn't hold a candle to youth and ignorance.
Yes.
When they're mixed.
And arrogance.
Comes on top of it.
Yeah.
I thought that Mrs. Du Bois was irresponsible. I thought that she had found herself in the catbird seat in Ghana, and I was so angry that she hadn't a week earlier called President Nkrumah, because she was known sort of as his mother, you know, and she could have picked up the telephone, but she'd stayed away for a week, which had been absolutely inaccessible. And the last night at a party given by the Chinese embassy, she came, she listened to Malcolm X and fell and said, "Here is a great man, this is my son. I'm going to call Kwame Nkrumah." So the next day I was livid, and Malcolm talked to me and started me on a lesson which I'm still learning.
Yes.
Like all great lessons, one has never achieved it and says, "Oh, I got that now," you know. Rather, I began, he said, think of racism as a mountain. Split it open and look at it. Look at the strata.
Yeah.
We need people on every level to fight this important and honorable struggle. So if you see this woman, Shirley Graham Du Bois, not performing as you would like her to perform, don't immediately dismiss her. Accept that she does what she knows to do. He also suggested, he said, now if the Urban League or the NAACP, and mind you, I was a radical, you know, I was young and hot. He said, if one or both of those organizations give banquets at the big hotels in New York, the Waldorf Astoria, he said, you won't go, probably. I said, I never would go. He said, but remember, those people give those banquets, and out of the monies from those banquets, they give scholarships.
Yes.
Now, the scholarship may be given to a young Martin Luther King, a young Malcolm X, a young Leontine Price, a young Maya Angelou.
Yeah.
I began to feel as if I was small enough to walk around in the palm of his hands, you know.
Well, he knew the maturity of compromise.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I just did not.
But how could you not be young and hot and a rebel being black at that period of time, Maya?
Oh, I was in the right place and I was the right person.
Yeah.
It's just that as I have grown older and as I think my perception has deepened, I forgive myself right away. I also see the narrowness of my vision, the shallowness of the vision. And understanding that and forgiving myself makes me free, allows me to understand young people.
And to be able to write about it in this book, as well as the fact that just because you were black in a black world, because you were American, you were still a minority.
That's right.
And it was transferring one sense of minorityness to another world.
Well, I think, too, that there is something in the human spirit which longs for home. I think that it is inevitable that we search for home. I think it is impossible to ever achieve it because it is true you can't go home again. But the other truth, which is a contradiction almost, is that you can never leave home.
You take it with you.
That's it.
Yes.
It's in your hair. It's in your walk, in the melody of your talk. It's under your fingernails. It's in the follicles of your scalp. And if life slams you against the wall, home will leap out of the mouth.
Yeah. Now I mean, this book is so fraught with things that one identifies with, including you having to cut the umbilical cord with Guy.
Oh, dear.
I mean, there you are in a foreign country, and he looks at you in all of 19-year-old arrogance and says, I have an older girlfriend. And what do you do?
I tell you, I was so undone because the woman was as old as I, or maybe a year older, and working in the American embassy. Now, American diplomats were suspect. And it was already suggested that black Americans could use their skin color as disguises. I mean, that was the first time we'd ever thought that.
To the power.
I mean,
yeah.
So there he is with this old woman, and she's an employee of the American Embassy. So I told him that I wouldn't have it, that I would knock him down. Now, I hit him last when he was 7 years old, and he looked at me and said, "I hope you never do this again. Do you know how big you are?" Gosh, I never hit him, but I used, as the West African women say, I used my weapon.
Yes.
This tongue.
And Maya, we're going to take a short pause. When we come back, there are two other incidents that I must ask you about. One is the time in Germany when you were doing Genèse, the blacks, and the other is finding, almost like a primal scream, your birth relatives in Africa.
Yes.
We will be back with our guest, Maya Angelou, author of All God's Children Need Traveling Shoes, published by Random House. Welcome back. We're talking with Maya Angelou, author of All God's Children Need Traveling Shoes, published by Random House. Now, the other part of the Maya Angelou story is Maya Angelou, the actress, the singer, the poet, performer, apart from the college professor at this moment. You are asked to come to Germany where they're going to do a performance of Genèse, the blacks, that you have done. So it's Old Home Week, because there is Raymond St. Jacques, James Earl Jones,
Roscoe Lee Brown, Cecily Tyson. It's true, I was very young too, mind you.
Yes.
I was very young and very ignorant. I have heard that the mixture of alcohol and gasoline can form a volatile condition, but it doesn't hold a candle to youth and ignorance.
Yes.
When they're mixed.
And arrogance.
Comes on top of it. I thought that Mrs. Du Bois was irresponsible. I thought that she had found herself in the catbird seat in Ghana, and I was so angry that she hadn't, a week earlier, called President Nkrumah, because she was known sort of as his mother, you know, and she could have picked up the telephone, but she'd stayed away for a week, which had been absolutely inaccessible. And the last night at a party given by the Chinese embassy, she came, she listened to Malcolm X and fell and said, "Here is a great man, this is my son. I'm going to call Kwame Nkrumah." So the next day, I was livid. And Malcolm talked, your nails, it's in the follicles of your scalp, and if life slams you against the wall, home will leap out of the mouth.
Yeah. Now we got, I mean, this book is so fraught with things that one identifies with, including you having to cut the umbilical cord with Guy.
Oh, dear.
I mean, there you are in a foreign country, and he looks at you in all of 19-year-old arrogance and says, "I have an older girlfriend." And what do you do?
I tell you, I was so undone, because the woman was as old as I, or maybe a year older, and working in the American Embassy. Now, American diplomats were suspect. And it was already suggested that black Americans could use their skin color as disguises. I mean, that was the first time we'd ever thought that.
To the power.
I mean. Yeah. So there he is with this old woman, myself.
Yeah.
Right away. I also see the narrowness of my vision, the shallowness of the vision. And understanding that and forgiving myself makes me free, allows me to understand young people.
And to be able to write about it in this book, as well as the fact that just because you were black in a black world, because you were American, you were still a minority.
That's right.
And it was transferring one sense of minorityness to another world.
Well, I think, too, that there is something in the human spirit which longs for home. I think that it is inevitable that we search for home. I think it is impossible to ever achieve it, because it is true you can't go home again, But the other truth, which is a contradiction almost, is that you can never leave home.
You
take it with
you.
That's it.
Yes.
It's in your hair.
Yeah.
It's in your walk, in the melody of your talk. It's under your banquets at the big hotels in New York, the Waldorf Astoria. He said, you won't go, probably. I said, I never would go. He said, but remember, those people give those banquets, and out of the monies from those banquets, they give scholarships.
Yes.
Now, the scholarship may be given to a young Martin Luther King, a young Malcolm X, a young Leontine Price, a young Maya Angelou.
Yeah.
I began to feel as if I was small enough to walk around in the palm of his hands, you know.
Well, he knew the maturity of compromise.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I just did not.
But how could you not be young and hot and a rebel being black at that period of time, Maya?
Oh, I was in the right place, and I was the right person.
Yeah.
It's just that as I have grown older, and as I think my perception has deepened, I've forgiven to me and started me on a lesson which I am still learning.
Yes.
Like all great lessons, one has never achieved it and says, oh, I got that now, you know. Rather, I began, he said, think of racism as a mountain. Split it open and look at it. Look at the strata.
Yeah.
We need people on every level to fight this important and honorable struggle. So if you see this woman, Shirley Graham Du Bois, not performing as you would like her to perform, don't immediately dismiss her. Accept that she does what she knows to do. He also suggested, he said, now if the Urban League or the NAACP, and mind you, I was a radical, you know, I was young and hot. He said, if one or both of those organizations give